Still lots of questions today about the safety measures taken on the Rust set there in New Mexico, the Alec Baldwin movie. The LA Times reporting that hours before the deadly shooting, at least a half dozen camera crew workers walked off the set to protest working conditions, including gun safety procedures and other concerns from where they were staying in the proximity to the shoot. So in a statement obtained by the entertainment news site Deadline, Rust Movie Productions said, I'm quoting now, the safety of our cast and crew is the top priority of Rust Productions and everyone associated with the company. Though we were not made aware of any official complaints concerning weapon or prop safety on set, we will be conducting an internal review of our procedures while production is shut down. We will continue to cooperate with the Santa Fe authorities in their investigation and offer mental health services to the cast and crew during this tragic time. CNN has reached out to the production company for comment, but we have yet to hear back. All right, joining me right now is Jeff Harris. He's an attorney who represented the family of Sarah Jones, a camera assistant who was killed while filming A Midnight Rider back in 2014. Jeff, so glad you could be with us today.
Thank you, Frederica. Glad to be here. So
what are your initial thoughts in terms of how this investigation will be carried out? What are some of the questions that are going to be asked? What are likely some of the discoveries that need to or will be made as it pertains to this Rust fatal shooting incident?
Well, my initial thought when I first heard about this, and I feel the same way now, is there is literally no way that this can happen if the crew is following standard safety protocols that have been in the movie industry since at least the 80s. Attached to the call sheet is a safety bulletin anytime you use firearms on set, and it outlines exactly what you're supposed to do. And you can't have an accidental discharge like this if the safety policy is being followed. So that's obviously the first question. Why wasn't it followed? And there can be a myriad reasons why, but most of the time on a movie set when safety protocols are not being followed, it's because there's a sense of complacency. People get they get into a mode where they keep doing things over and over again, and they've got this sort of attitude that, hey, we've got this, we deal with firearms every day, and then mistakes get made. So that's really the first question I have is, why weren't these protocols followed? They're clear, they're simple, they're straightforward, and they would have been attached to the call sheet.
So when you said, protocols that, were put into place around the late 80s, or some of those protocols that are being respected today, a direct result from the 1993 Brandon Lee shooting death on set. Have there been, I guess, a more stricter protocol, a set of protocols put in place involving firearms, weapons on sets, particularly because of what happened to Brandon Lee?
Yes, and it happens anytime there's an incident on a movie set. Labor gets together, management gets together, and they work together to figure out stuntman. The same thing happens after that. And so what the industry tries to do is learn from experience, and if something bad happens on a movie set, implement whatever protocols or procedures need to be implemented to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And since we've had 2 firearms related incidents in the movie industry many years ago, I believe that the safety protocols and procedures that the industry has in place are good ones. They're effective. I mean, there are hundreds of movie shoots that take place every day where people are using firearms, shooting blanks, and it is extraordinarily rare for an incident like this to take place. And so we know when something like this happens, when we have good policies, if it happened, it's because people weren't following them. And sometimes that comes from the top down. And I don't know enough about this shoot to know, but we are sort of anecdotally hearing that there were complaints that the crew was under a great deal of stress and pressure. We'll have to get to the bottom of whether that contributed to this failure to follow these policies.
Yeah, and then now from your legal hat, do you feel like, based on what is being publicized thus far, that you see that there will be a legal case to follow, a criminal case that might follow, a civil case to follow?
I absolutely believe that there will be a civil case. I don't know that anybody could look at this and not conclude that there was negligence on the part of someone, because you don't hand an actor a weapon and the actor thinks it's a cold weapon. it actually has a blank in it. And then there's also reporting that it may have been what people are describing as a live round. I'm not sure exactly what they mean when they say that. They're generally speaking in the movie business, if it's a live round, it's a blank. And there's been reporting that maybe it's a ballistic round, which, a bullet. And there's zero reason why you would ever have a live ballistic round on a movie set. So if that happened, then you're transcending into the sort of the levels of criminal negligence, which is a higher standard than civil negligence.
Do you
It's
see
inexplicable.
Yeah.
How you get a bullet on a movie set.
Do you see it as helpful or potentially damaging? Alec Baldwin, tweeting out, his thoughts, and saying, yes, this was a tragic accident in his statement, and that he's fully cooperating with investigators. What are your thoughts about hearing from Alec Baldwin himself at this stage, publicly like this?
I don't fault him for that. I mean, I think he's doing what anybody who is compassionate would do. He's concerned about the family. It sounds to me, at least from the initial reporting, that he was handed a gun that he thought was a cold weapon, and there's got to be an explanation of how that happened. I never fault people for being compassionate human beings, but at the end of the day, if he has any civil culpability, if he did something wrong, that'll be sorted out both in the criminal investigation and the subsequent civil investigation.
And to the case that you were involved in back in 2017, I mean, a jury issued a multi-million-dollar verdict for the death of Sarah Jones for negligence, involving multiple parties. You represented her family. Are you looking at this from the point of view of similarities? I mean, very different circumstances, but similarities meaning putting a real magnifying glass on the potential dangers that come with any movie making.
Yeah, I have a special place in my heart for the folks on the crew. It's a tough job. I think people who don't understand the movie industry think it's more glamorous than it is, but they work long hours under sometimes tough conditions. Sometimes they have people yelling at them to do things quickly. And so I worry that incidents like this are caused by putting these young, overworked, sometimes underpaid crews under way too much pressure. And the industry right now, there's constant clamoring for more content, and you have a lot of young crews out there working really hard, and there has to be a focus on safety because they're doing dangerous stuff. I mean, you're blowing up cars and you're fake shooting people and you're doing things that are sort of inherently dangerous. And so the industry itself has to continuously, constantly focus on safety to make sure that things like this don't happen. And that's really been my focus, and it's been the focus of the clients that I've had. The Berniker family and the Jones family are both very much focused on safety in an industry that they love. And it's just tragic that another bright light has been shut out by another onset incident. And I wish it wouldn't happen. And we've got to learn from it, and we've got to do whatever we need to do to make sure it never happens again.
Yeah, so terribly sad, whether it was 1993, 2017, your case, and of course this week. Jeff Harris, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.